Hello and welcome back everyone. Today we've got a PvP Masterclass for Barb featuring Sheriff. Sheriff is a renowned Barb on the East Coast for being both a roadblock and the objective on defense, and for his ability to roam and cover the battlefield on offense, preventing your team from getting to where they want. We'll cover everything Sheriff and I talked about, including build, essences, set, Warband room, Ancestral power, Invocations, Refroges, Paragon, counters, combos, and more. First up, let's cover the sets. 4-piece Vithus and 2-piece Gloom. This build also functions with 2-piece Vithus and 4-piece Gloom, but Sheriff prefers the 4-piece Vithus for increased attack speed after using any of your abilities other than the primary. The 2-piece Vithus will extend the duration of all your buffs, including Sprint, Wrath of the Berserker, Undying Rage, and the buff from Furious Charge. 2-piece Gloom will provide a damage boost after using Furious Charge, and create a burst window after you land one. Sheriff uses the Protector Warband for 5% block, with the most important remnant being Shepherd's Burden. This grants additional health, and Barb has a naturally high health pool, and this will further extend it, as well as boost the damage from Blessing of the Worthy. Armed with the Stun Ancestral power, which for what it's worth has been used by all 3 players featured in the PvP Masterclass series so far. For Invocations, the preferred 2 are Chance to proc when being attacked, and Chance to proc when causing an enemy loss of control. Chance to proc when being attacked is amazing for Barb, as you're often in the mix getting hit by numerous attacks. The chance when causing enemy loss of control to provide some versatility and give you a follow-up CC after landing charge on any enemies. For Refroges, the Tremor family bonus is used, with the lines being Knockback Resist, Stun Resist, and Chance to slow enemies' attack and move speed. The additional 2 lines are not from the Tremor family, but are increased attack speed and increased beneficial effect duration. The Tremor family bonus can proc chip as well. Gladiator Paragon tree is used with 84 points, as opposed to the more common 63-point variant. As a Barb with Undying Rage and solid survivability, the reduced cooldown on Uncontrollable allows it to proc more often than other classes, which might not survive long enough for the cooldown to come back up. With this setup, there's no need to swap Paragon trees during the Battleground either, as the reduced cooldown will often be up when you need it. With those things out of the way, let's cover the build and essences now. The build uses Furious Charge, Undying Rage, Wrath of the Berserker, Sprint, and Lacerate. Furious Charge in combination with Tracker's Rage and Screaming Fury. Tracker's Rage provides a damage boost after using the ability, which also counts as a dash, so it'll now proc both 4-piece Vithus and 2-piece Gloom. Screaming Fury turns Furious Charge into a knockup. Keep in mind this ability can also be used to disengage if needed, but isn't as reliable as abilities from other classes. Sheriff likes to save a charge if possible, to get on a Necro or Demon Hunter as priority if the situation arises. Undying Rage with Gritting Effigy. This adds an AoE damage component while Undying Rage is active, and in the current meta, you're often swarmed with players around you. It allows you to deal some damage whether you're crowd controlled or not. A popular alternative to this is Berserker Sanity, which pairs nicely with the offhand Sundered Legacy, to help reactivate the fire aura when you're getting locked up. For lower resonance players, the Trembling is also a nice option. Increase your movement speed during Undying Rage, and reduce the cooldown. Undying Rage will also proc 4-piece Vithus when active. Wrath of the Berserker with Sundered Legacy and Loathsome Lamina. Sundered Legacy causes Wrath of the Berserker to give you a fire aura which deals surprisingly large damage. And if you haven't tried this ability yet, Sheriff definitely recommends you do. Loathsome Lamina provides a shield every time you use Wrath of the Berserker. With the reduced cooldown Sundered Legacy provides, you can make frequent use of this. A large and often neglected benefit of having Wrath of the Berserker provide a shield on a short cooldown is to provide cover after your Undying Rage wears off, and allow you to bandage if there are any harmful effects lingering. Wrath of the Berserker will proc 4-piece Vithus when active. Sprint, without any essences, will provide you an amazing speed boost, and it's possible to get 100% uptime on this depending on your character, gear, affixes, reforge rolls, etc. Sprint will proc 4-piece Vithus as well, turning it into an offensive buff in addition to the mobility tool that it is. For primary, we have Lacerate with Rending Bite. This provides a damage over time component to our primary. This build is hard countered by Necros and more specifically Bone Pillar, so be careful with your engages against them. Veteran Necros will be able to essentially flawless you by taking advantage of the line of sight issues Pillar provides. Oftentimes it's best to attempt to disengage regardless of the Necro's relative strength compared to yours. When facing monks, make sure to reserve your Furious Charge until after Shield of Zen has fallen off. A mix of kiting, dodging, and landing primary attacks to remove the shield. If you're able to do so, using Wrath of the Berserker, Charge, Primary, another Furious Charge, and some additional primaries will most likely lock the monk up and deplete their health. Sheriff's preferred legendary gems are Howler's Call, Bottled Hope, Blessing of the Worthy, Seeping Bile, Chip of the Stone Flesh, and Blood-Soaked Jade. Howler's Call provides an additional stun and another way to proc Chip of the Stone Flesh in addition to your Ancestral power and Tremor family bonus. Howlers will also go in the direction of an invisible target like Demon Hunters, and although it won't reveal them, you'll know where they are. Bottled Hope provides a large damage buff and move speed if Sprint is on cooldown for numerous abilities at your disposal. Blessing of the Worthy reduces damage taken and provides some more reactive AoE damage to the build. Chip of the Stone Flesh enhances your Howler's stun, Ancestral Power, and Tremor family bonus while providing a large damage boost while the duration persists. Blood-Soaked Jade gives additional damage and move speed and is essentially a staple in any build. Seeping Bile provides a move speed reduction and a large damage over time component. Given how lengthy the coverage of the build was, and this being a Masterclass video, I've paired it with a shorter match on attack that is very well heavy on both sides. Keep in mind I haven't changed my own Refroge lines for this video since I do cover all classes. Before we get to the match, I'd like to give an enormous thanks to Sheriff for taking the time to share this build and his strategy behind it. This provides a large amount of insight to players whether they play the class or not. Hello and welcome back everyone. Today we got a match on attack. Both sides are fairly whale heavy, so this should be a good one to show. I think we have a slight advantage in terms of raw power, but since we have the uphill battle against the defense, hopefully it'll be fairly even. I'm going to go out and engage the enemies here and just delay as many as possible in hopes that my team is able to get the Guardians down without too many deaths. Willing to sacrifice myself here provided the Guardians go down and the rest of the team gets into phase 2 fairly quick. Not going to give my life away, but going to get out if possible. Got one Guardian remaining and there it goes. Looks like the enemies still have 4 players behind us in phase 1, so I'm going to push forward. 2 of the rezzers have gone left. One of my teammates is engaging the idol on the right, so I'm going to go ahead and engage these 3 here if possible. And again, just stalling and delaying, waiting for the rest of my team to get here. I'll drag them back to the spawn now that they're on me. And again, trying to stay alive if possible, but the main objective is just stalling and delaying. At this point, they have a couple players dead, so I can camp the spawn, get any benefit out of that if possible, while the idols continue to push. This will be the end of me finally, but with 4 melee on me, I should do some good rhetorical damage to them. Looks like 2 of them gave up. My teammate should be able to finish him, so I'm going to push back up to the spawn. Get a bandage off. And I need to reinforce the bottom side at this point. They're starting to get a little overwhelmed. Just get right in the mix of things and let the AoE rhetorical damage go off. And unfortunately go down, but both idols in decent shape for the amount of time we have remaining. Team manages to clear out the right side, and we might actually get in shortly here. With the latest Rezzer going to the other side, I'm going to come back over and help finish these Barbs off. It's been a slow and steady push, but it looks like we're making it. Team is off both idols for some reason. And there we have it. Well fought by my team, excuse me. And a good job at rotating sides when appropriate. Punishing the enemy team for over-rotating at times, we're able to get out a win, and any win on attack is always a good one in my opinion. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and have a great day.